Friends, on behalf of Ananta IAS Academy, today also I will be discussing with you about the process of UPSC interviews in civils. Normally, the candidates who are appearing for these interviews from August to September, they're lucky because you have come from the 2 lakhs, 3 lakh streams to 25,000 mains, and from then onwards you move to the personality test, which is 1 is to 2.5, and among the 5 people, 2 people will be selected, and rest of the 3 people have to again come back to the front gate. That is like a snake ladder game. You will be in the first part, that is to say you are at the number one and you have reached the 98th position, number 98, and then you have fallen into the trap of that snake's mouth. Then you come back to number one. So similarly, on the occasion of prelims writing, you have to think of how to cope up with the examination and then approve yourself to the mains and then pass through the mains and come to the interviews. About 10 years back, I've written a book called Job Interviews with the help of Mr. Ramesh Chandra, who is a senior position manager at the LIT Infotech as vice president, about how to face the interviews. The job interviews are of different types. It differs from the software engineering interviews and civils interviews and other group one interviews or whatever it is. Some of the extracts are very, very interesting. This book is published by Gyan Publishers. The Gyan Publishers is a very famous institution at Delhi. And in 2011, this book has been published and it is now widely acclaimed as a good handbook for the interview going candidates. I will read out some of the passages from the book, which are of very, very useful nature. The largest recruiting agency in the country has a year-long calendar for examinations and personal interviews. Normally, due to the pandemic for the last 2 years, the calendar has been changed according to the convenience of the candidates. But normally, the calendar is a fixed calendar. The February, the notification comes for the civils. In the month of June, the prelims are conducted. In the month of October, the mains examinations are conducted. And in the month of April and May, the prolonged interviews for about 40 to 50 days will be conducted. And on the second or third day itself, they will announce the interview results and the ranks also. And you will be at the threshold of Mussoorie office, Lal Bahadur Institute of Administrative Training. They publish the calendar well in advance and follow a regular procedure for conducting the exams as per schedule. The different centers for conducting the examinations throughout the country are notified for the convenience of the candidates. Then in the interview, you will be having several doubts. What about my fluency in English? The art of communication is different. One may be fluent in his own mother tongue. He is capable of communicating in his own language. His handicap is to get the thought content translated into English. You are a Marathi person, you will be thinking in the lines of Marathi, and then to translate it into English, you may be finding it difficult. You are a Telugu gentleman, you know the idiom of Telugu, you know how to speak in Telugu very fluently, but when it comes to English, you will be having a handicap. To avoid all such complications, the UPSC introduced the interpreters for the benefit of the candidates. I was also an interpreter in 2011 when Mr. Khan's board was formed, and I was there for about two days. And the interpreter that helps him, but the interpreter has no say in the selection process. He is like an interpreter to two prime ministers or presidents of different countries. He will not be part of the policy or agreements signed between two countries. If the interpreter is there between two prime ministers or president, he will not be a party to the agreements or MOUs fixed on that. So After the intro part of a particular candidate is over, interpreter is asked to leave the room for a few minutes so that the members of the board can discuss and arrive at a conclusion to grade the candidate and allot his rank and marks. Then a detailed designation of your behavior in the interview will be discussed at a later stage. uh, the interview process normally starts with your entering into the hall and the chairman inviting you. So many people will be asking you what is the dress code and address code. There is no dress code for any personal interview. You can improve your communication skills like speech, body language, but dressing is completely in your hands. There is no rule book regarding dress, but there is a stress code. Avoid stress. Practice meditation. There are two cardinal days in your career building. One is the examination day, and another is the personal interview day. Some hints are given in general. They are not real situations. It depends upon the level of candidate's mental and physical ability. Keep your mind cool. Keep silence for at least an hour in advance. Don't watch TV serials. Take light food. Check up your BP levels and sugar levels if you are prone. Don't strain yourself. Avoid hurrying up to the examination hall or to the interview channel. Go through the notes you have already prepared. Check your pocket before the interview starts and don't get worried about it. And in the interview, avoid mannerisms as far as possible. Like 20 minutes to 30 minutes interview, if you have a bad managing of your own body language, you should avoid all such things. While entering the boardroom also, wish the persons sitting across the table occupy the chair allotted for you with grace. Don't sit cross-legged. Don't keep your legs one above the other as if you are the boss. Don't sit in a relaxed mood. Similarly, don't express anxiety, restlessness at the time of answering. If you feel like taking a glass of water, if available on the table, take it. Don't gulp it. Don't take too much time to drink the water. If coffee or tea is served or offered, don't gulp it. Take it with table manners. Pencil, pen for jotting down points can be of much help to you. When it is necessary, only use them. Avoid dropping names like senior officials or politicians during your answers. You may be knowing a particular minister of your state or center. That doesn't mean you should drop his name in the at the time of interview to impress upon the board members. Talk continuously in English, Telugu, or whatever language you are preferring. Don't mix up all the three languages. Opt regional language if you are shaky in answering the reply. Because you may be very familiar with Telugu or whatever language you feel, but you may not be fluent in English. This is a stepping stone for success. Remind that. Remember that. Interview is the main criteria for the board to know about you. You may be more intelligent and have scored marks well, but personal interview is to judge your capacities. Pray God and play well. Avoid repetition of same statistics, figures, phrases, and information. It's not important what you know, but what you communicate and how to communicate to the members. Then body language. If the interviewer extends his hand to greet, extend your hand. Keep eye to eye contact. Offer greeting with the shake hand firmly, but don't crush his hand. Your hands may be damp, but it does not matter. When you enter the interview room, wait for a while till you are offered the chair by the chairman or the board. If there are two or more chairs vacant left out, sit direct to the interviewer with great confidence. Start smiling. Greet them by saying good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on the time of interview. And typical interview questions will be like this. Candidates shall be prepared to face some typical questions at the beginning. The first impression is the best impression. After salutations and greetings, the candidate occupy the chair and normally the chairperson starts the ball rolling to the interview. What is the name? What is in a name? But In interviews, everything is in a name. The chairman, hello Murali, your name is Murali. What does it mean? Can you explain? Then the answer, Murali is the flute of Lord Krishna, sir. Similar questions based on the names of the candidates can be asked. Then the question of place of birth comes. In the application, you have already filled in the DIF about your birthplace. If the place is popularly associated with a famous personality, the answer shall contain relevant information. For example, I will take an Andhra situation, Vijayawada. The place of Kanakadurga temple and the famous river Krishna is there. Freedom fighter and Central Irrigation Minister Dr. K.L. Rao belongs to that place, and he represented that Vijayawada constituency twice. And Gode Murhari, the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, vice chairman of the Rajya Sabha, was there from the constituency. Harindranath Chattopadhyay, famous writer, also represented Vijayawada constituency in Lok Sabha. It is in a nutshell. Since you have mentioned about Vijayawada and the question has come regarding the importance of Vijayawada, you have to tell. Suppose the candidate belongs to Kurukshetra, then the answer should be it is a tourist place in Haryana, sir, associated with Mahabharata war between evil and dharma, Kauravas and Pandavas. Lord Sri Krishna counseled Arjuna at Kurukshetra with Bhagavad Gita, the holy scripture. Kanchi and other places like that, it will come. And the state of birth also. The Northeast candidates have to be thorough with the Northeast policy. South Indian candidates shall be thorough with the historical, cultural, political importance of that particular place. North Indian candidates shall be aware of the tourist, political, geographical importance of that particular place. For example, candidates from Andhra, UP, Maharashtra shall be able to inform about the sentiment of regionalism and agitations for smaller states. That time the agitations were there for smaller states when Uttarakhand and Jharkhand were formed. And then the lengthy names, some of the South Indian names are very lengthy, and most of them from Tamil Nadu, they will have their surnames with a father's name also. These things are to be mentioned, and the name particularly is to be changed. Then the school and college you studied, the important people associated with that, and the peculiar names are there, and peculiar film stars names are also maybe interviewed and maybe asked in that associated names. Then comes the questions related to your academic qualifications. If you have done an MSc and BL, the natural curiosity will be why you have chosen law after MSc. If you are not practicing lawyer, then the committee will ask why you have acquired a law degree. The combination of electronics and mathematics, history and computers ought to be related properly. If don't mention that it was not your choice and by accident you landed into it, then the question will be different. Then the postgraduate diplomas are there, public relations, journalism, astrology, translation, computer science, etc. These are the additional qualifications. Don't get confused. Nobody will question you even if your answer is either way. But the reasoning shall be with supported concreted examples. It can be, sir, I am an employee and cannot afford going to the evening classes and or regular classes. Study material provided by the distance education, if you are a student of distance education, the classes, workshops, radio lessons, and assignments helped me in completing my distance education. A person acquired 25 degrees and diplomas, and his biodata contains particulars of them. It is positive as well as negative sign. Be prepared for the valley of questions. Don't mention simply the names like Tulsidas, Suradas, Shakespeare, Milton, Byron, Arnold, Nannaya, Tikkana, Potana, Subramanya Bharati, Vallathol as your favorite authors. Supplementary will be definitely there about their works. If you mention Tulsidas, tell about Ramcharitmanas and tell about his Ramayana, its popularity in Hindi literature, and the lucid style. If you have mentioned about Shakespeare, tell about Macbeth, Othello, and King Lear and all his plays. The pioneering role by Kavitraya poets in Telugu from 11th century onwards is to be traced if you have mentioned the name of Nannaya. The claim of Tamilians about Bharati and Vallathol is to be explained in detail if you mention about the Tamil poets. Like that, it goes on. Then the questions of your education, your experience will be in turn by the other member. Can you mention your extracurricular activities? This is the another question normally put for the candidate. The best answer can be if you have opted for science subjects, you tell about the reason for selecting those science subjects. If you have opted for art subjects or commerce subjects, you tell the important that particular subject. Then they may ask you about the memorable experience you had in your life. Focus them on career oriented points. Your liking towards a particular professor or lecturer during your college time or university, it should be mentioned. Any strike, agitation that took place during your studies. Normally, in most of the universities, there will be a lot of strikes and conventions which are held during your period. You mention them. The discipline in the college, etc. But make sure that your answer reflects your mindset. Extracurricular activities, this is the most important thing which you have to keep in mind. The question can be why you have not participated actively in the extracurricular activities. If you say no or not participated, then the question will come why you have not participated. The answer can be, sir, I spent most of my time concentrating on my studies and examinations. I wish I should have participated more in cultural activities. I'm interested in acting in stage plays, social work, literary activities, but my professor sincerely advised me to increase my grade. I wanted to get good rank in the college and university. This should be the reply if they ask about extracurricular activities. Take care in answering. If you claim more about extracurricular activities, interviewer will definitely ask about your studies. Anything you have done to demonstrate your leadership skills will be appreciated. Some tough questions at this juncture will be tell us about, tell us about your failure. This is a very difficult question. You have never expected that. And you say, I have never failed, but it cannot be avoided. You think of that. How you got this first rank? And then another question, last mistake you have done, any project work you have undertaken, have you failed in your goal? Have you solved any problem? Tough time with your teacher or friend? Too much work to do? Are you bored with your examinations? The answers must be coherent and specific. It is a launching pad for success. The interview is like a launching pad for success. And similarly, more detailed questions. So be careful. Answer to the point. When the question is replied, look into the eyes of the interviewer and listen to the next question. Answer to the point. If you are asked about specific facts, don't provide entire information you have. Answer only the facts asked for. It shall be direct reply. Longish answers will not fit. Don't be under the impression that your quick answer to the question will be appreciated. The open-ended questions also will be there. Why you have opted for science and degree, how your friend describes you. These questions also will be of interest to the candidates. Let me quote a full-length interview of Mr. Mutyala Raju, who topped the civils examinations in 2006. He was a district collector in Ellur, and then he was district collector West Godavari, Ellur, and presently he is in the CMO of Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister. His personal interview started like this. He entered the hall. It was in 2006. May I come in, sir? Yes, please. Good morning, sir. Good morning, madam. Good morning, sirs. This was his entrance. You are Mr. The chairman asked. Yes, sir. I am Muchala Raju Revu, sir. Then he did not sit. The chairman was writing something, and other members were keenly looking at the candidate. Then the member two said, please take your seat. Thank you, sir. Then the chairman asked, Mr. Revu, you did BTech from RESC Varangal Regional Engineering College, MA from IISc Bangalore, but why did you do the diploma? He did a diploma also in Polytechnic. Sir, after my completion of my 10th class, based on my financial background, my father joined me in the Polytechnic. After completion of the Polytechnic, we do get jobs. That was the situation. Also, since I will get scholarship, the amount of money spent on me was very less. Then the chairman said, that means you will get a job after diploma, is it? Yes, sir. I got a private job. The company is Kane Energy Limited. Oh, then why did you join BTech? Sir, after completion of my diploma, I wrote the MSET examination and I got the state first rank. So I convinced my father that I will join the Regional Engineering College, Warangal, which is a premier engineering institute in our state. This has the first stage. The second stage, the second member started. You are in IPS for 4 months. So I can ask some questions. Is it? Then Raju said, yes, sir. Number two, are you aware that the confession admission of the culprit to the police is not allowed as witness? Why? Yes, sir. Confession confession admitted to police is not allowed as witness, since there is always a possibility of getting the confession in the way police like. Laws does not it allow it. Law does not allow it. What is the regestate? It's a typical question. Then Raju replied, sir, all the circumstances leading to the same transactions are allowable as evidence. Oh, you are on the line. Could you explain more? Yes, sir. If some people wanted to commit dacoit and in the process, if they theft a vehicle, even though theft of the vehicle is not connected with the dacoity, but it is admissible as it forms the circumstances leading to the dacoity. It was the reply. Then the member asked, could you tell me the section with which deals res gestate? Raju said, sorry, sir, I could not remember the exact section. It doesn't matter. Even if you reply that I am not able to recollect, nobody will question you at that. Then the chairman asked, your hobbies are meditation, motivating others, and Indian mythology. Don't you think that all are inward looking? Raju said, sir, whenever possible, I play cricket in addition to my hobbies, which is a team game. Here he was caught. Then the member two asked, tell me which countries will reach final at the present World Cup? 2006, there was a World Cup. Sir, I think Australia and Sri Lanka. Already two countries reached semi-finals, that is Sri Lanka and New Zealand. What do you think about other two? It went on, and there was a question on the geography also, and geometry also. And then another member asked, your hobbies are meditation, motivating others, and Indian mythology. What do you do in motivation? Raju replied, that member was a lady member. Madam, many of my classmates and juniors came to me for clearing their doubts in subjects as I am the topper of my class. I usually listen to their problems regarding their understanding of concepts, as many have problems either in one or more subjects. I tell them that every subject is easy if you know the concepts clear, and we should like the subject that we are studying. That is more important. Do you do your response is same for all people? The member asked. Madam, I usually spend more time with those who are very much lagging. I take classes to clear their doubts. Then, do you call the motivation or strategy learning? Madam, strategic learning may be the correct term. What is the difference between these two? The member asked. Madam, motivation is a general term which includes not only academic motivation but also others like psychological, etc. Madam, I do not know exactly the meaning of that strategic learning. Which books you read in Indian mythology? The member asked. Madam, I read Ramayana and Mahabharata. Since your hobbies are motivating others and Indian mythology, tell me how Krishna motivated Arjuna. This was the question. Raju replied, Madam, when Arjuna refused to fight with the friends, teachers, Krishna told him that it is the duty of the king to protect Dharma and fight was for protecting it. We should not move away from our duty. Since war's soul is important, immortal, and of which is born, death is certain. Since soul is immortal, and of which is born, death is certain, of which death happened, birth is certain. Hence, you should not think that you are committing a crime. Also, he motivated him by saying that we should do work only. We should not think about the result of our actions. Karmanyavadhikaraste maphaleshu kathachana. Otherwise, attachment to the results will occur, which is a major reason for unhappiness. Then the madam asks, do you practice it? Madam, it is very difficult to practice. Why? Madam, for example, if we are about to play a cricket match, we will think about the winning of the match, which is actually the result of the playing that match. So it was a very, very, very subtle remark and a good reply. Then the chairman said, thank you. So the interview was over and he stood first and he was the topper of that year 2006. Similar ambition should be there on your part also to complete the interview and get yourself selected. And I wish you all the best.